Hi, everybody. We are now on Lesson 5, Step 5. And we are getting ready to draft the book chapter. We're going to start writing, guys. All right, so here we go. Let's open our books up to page 142 and follow along with me because we're just going to talk about a couple things first. And then we're going to dive right in and we're going to start with our introduction. But first, let's go ahead and do this. Let's read this chart to learn more about the parts of a book chapter. We can refer back to this information as we write our draft. This is going to be very important. There's also something else that we're going to review before we get started writing. Y'all know what that is. Okay, but first, introduction at the top there. Introduction. It introduces the topic and catches the reader's attention. The introduction of a book chapter helps readers understand what information is to come. It should hook the readers by asking a question, describing a scene, or offering an interesting fact or detail. It can also introduce the topic in a way that prepares readers for the information they will learn. The introduction also previews the focus of your chapter. Keep in mind that we're only writing one chapter of a book of many chapters. Our chapter has to have one bit of focus, and our focus is why animals communicate, right? The purposes for animals communicating. Okay, now look down here for the body. It says body, it develops the topic with facts and details. Yes, it does. Reading along over here, the body paragraphs in your chapter should explain and develop your topic. You should group related ideas into paragraphs that are organized logically. If you'll remember looking back at the mentor text, that's how our guy Caleb did it, so that's how we're going to try and do it too. We're going to include facts, definitions, quotations, and examples to develop your ideas. The body is going to use headings to tell what each major section is about. Again, we're going to look at the mentor text. How did our guy do it? How should we do it? We're going to use domain-specific vocabulary and precise language to present ideas accurately. That means we're going to, again, who is our audience? Students at our school library. So we want to use vocabulary that students in our school library would most generally understand. Keep in mind also that fifth graders along with kindergartners could be reading this. So you might want to be able to explain some of the larger words or concepts. And last but not least, the body has, it connects ideas with linking words, phrases, and clauses. And last but not least, in our chapter, we're going to have a conclusion. Our conclusion sums up what the readers should know or what they should have learned by the time they're done reading our chapter. Your conclusion should sum up your main points. It should also draw a conclusion or make a statement based on the information presented. Your conclusion should also leave readers with an idea to think about. Get them interested, keep them interested, and keep them thinking about your article or your chapter long after they have finished reading it. Okay, now we're going to move on to, please look at, before we go any farther, let's go back all the way back to step 2. On page 125, you guys go back. Right now, please. 125. I'm waiting. All right, you there? Okay, good job. At the top of 125, it says your assignment. And again, let's review this because this is what your assignment. We're about ready to start writing. We've already got the evidence that we need. We've got as much. We've got our charts filled out. And before we really start to formulate what our chapter needs to be, let's review our assignment. Your science class is writing an informational book about animals that will be displayed in your school library. Each student must write one short chapter, that's you, for the book. The chapter will describe some purposes for animal communication and explain how that communication helps the animal survive. Now, we've read the sources, Incredible Animal Ears, and we've read the sources, Dances with Animals, and then in the book chapter, we're going to identify 3 purposes for animal communication. We're going to provide 1 or more examples of ways that animals communicate for each purpose. And in our chapter, we have to explain why communication is important to animal survival. We will use headings to organize our information and provide a list of sources. All right, now, let's head back to where we were before on page 140, if I can get my computer to work. 143 is what we're on now, because what we're going to start working on is our introduction. And let's read the top here, okay? Because this is basically you're going to start writing, and I'm going to have to start pulling away, but I can try to help guide you in the right direction. As far as introduction goes, let's get started. Practice writing the different parts of your introduction. Study each example from the mentor text, then try writing a similar part for your chapter. Now, we want to hook the readers. How did Caleb Lawrence hook the readers in his mentor text? Let's read. He hooked the readers in his introduction by saying, "For an animal in the wild, threats to survival are everywhere. All habitats have risks. For example, water sources can dry up, food can grow scarce. The weather can turn dangerous without warning, but perhaps most worrisome to animals is the constant danger of becoming another animal's lunch." Now, he's talking about camouflage. What are we talking about? Let's look at the hint. The hint says, this hook ties into animal survival. What are some of your ideas about animal communication and survival? So I'm going to let you guys think about that. Now, this is what we do, okay? You read the mentor text, introduce the topic. This is how you guys are going to introduce the topic. How did Caleb Lawrence do it? He said, to avoid being eaten by hungry predators, or better yet, to stalk their own prey. Many animals use camouflage, the natural coloring or shape of their bodies, which allows them to disappear into their surroundings. That introduces the topic pretty daggone well. How will you do yours? Let's look at the hint. The hint says, notice how the mentor text provides a bridge between the hook and the main idea of the chapter. See, he's talking about survival, and then the survival, how the camouflage helps them with survival, and it ties in. It does tie in. Pardon me. Now, the third part of this, preview the main ideas. The mentor text says there are 3 main types of animal camouflage. That's pretty straightforward. What are we talking about? We're talking about animal communication. So how would you guys put for the mentor text? Be a little bit more elaborate than that, okay? So you guys give that a try. Again, I hope you guys are hitting pause to get your writing done with all this and starting back up. as I go along and blah, 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 because I'm going to move on again now to page 144. And I'm going to talk about the Draft Your Body. So you guys work on getting the Draft Your, the introduction completed. You guys get that all worked out on the paper right here. We will write it up in the next couple of days. All right. So now I'm going to move on to step 5, draft your chapter, the body part. So on page 144, let's look at this. It says, draft your body. As you draft your book chapter, you will develop your topic with facts, definitions, and concrete details from your sources. A concrete detail is specific, factual information that can be proved. Concrete detail, proved. It's factual, specific. Writers use concrete details such as specific descriptions, examples, or direct quotations to help readers visualize what is being explained. The following chart shows examples of non-specific details versus concrete details. So non-specific means they could be anything, versus concrete details, which are specific, they're factual, and they can be proven. All right. Non-specific detail. Arctic hares change color. Concrete detail. Here comes the concrete. Okay. During winter, the coat of an Arctic hare turns white to match the snow. As a non-specific detail, owl butterflies have spots on their wings. For a concrete detail, these unusual butterflies have enormous spots on their wings that look like the eyes of an owl. So now we're going to read the excerpt from Hiding in Plain Sight, which was the mentor text about camouflage, which we are not writing about. And then we're going to complete the activities to learn how the writer used concrete details to develop his ideas. I'll bet we'll do that for Bella soon. All right. Animals with disruptive coloration, such as zebras, are colored in a way that make the outline of their bodies hard to see. Because zebras tend to travel in groups, predators struggle to identify a single zebra to attack amongst the sea of black and white stripes. Animals that rely on disruptive coloration for hunting include Sumatran tigers and jaguars. A tiger's stripes make it hard for prey to recognize its shape when moving through tall grasses. Jaguars hunt during the day in the low-lying leaves of tree branches. Their splotchy markings keep them from standing out amid the shifting patterns of light and shade. Now, if you notice, there's an underlined sentence here. Number 1 says, why is the first underlined sentence a good example of a concrete detail? It says, predators struggle to identify a single zebra to attack amongst the sea of black and white stripes. Why is that an example of a concrete detail? What do you guys think? It says up here in the part where we read before, it says that writers use concrete details such as specific descriptions, examples, or direct quotations to help readers visualize what is being explained. That has something to do with the answer. I'll let you guys work on number 1. You guys got to come up with that here on your own. Pause. Unpause. Hey, we're back. Number 2, underline an additional example of a concrete detail and explain why you underline this detail. I'm going to make it easy and I'm going to make it hard for you. Let's find the example of the concrete detail together, but you have to explain why you underline this detail. It says a tiger's stripes make it hard for prey to recognize its shape when moving through tall grasses. Jaguars hunt during the day in the low-lying leaves of tree branches. It's starting to get really descriptive here. Their splotchy markings keep them from standing out amid the shifting patterns of light and shade. Underline that. That is a concrete detail. That is definitely a concrete detail. So, but now what you have to do, in the space below, you have to explain why we underline this detail. Why? Pause. Number 3. Well, next page. For the guided practice, Bella uses her notes to write the draft below. Now she wants to find ways to develop her book chapter with concrete details. So she's trying to add more concrete details to her writing. It says, read Bella's notes and draft. Complete the activities using the hints for help. So we will read her notes and draft. Her notes, it says purpose. Bella's chart says purpose. Animals communicate to share information. And then it gives examples. Elephants use low rumbling sounds to send messages to another, including warnings. The sound is inaudible. To humans, we can't hear it. Honeybees do a careful dance to show the others where to find nearby flowers. The flight plan is coded in the bees' movements. Gazelles jump up and down with stiff legs, called pronking, to warn of danger. These are all examples of animals communicating to share information, right? All right, so in Bella's draft, she wrote the purpose and she wrote the examples. Now in her draft, she's writing, one purpose for animal communication is sharing information. For example, see, purpose and then examples. For example, elephants make sounds that can serve as warnings. Bees dance to share where they find food. Gazelles pronk to warn the herd when cheetahs are near. Bella did a good job with that paragraph, I think. Number 3 says, Bella mentions the sounds that elephants make. Rewrite her sentence on the lines below to show how she can improve this sentence with a concrete detail. I can't give you that one. You got to come up with that one on your own. But read the hint. The hint says, what else should readers know about the elephant's sounds? So you can add more. Punch that sentence up and add more concrete detail to it. And then write it down there in the space given. And then before you do that, hit pause because I'm going on to 4. Hi, welcome to 4. Bella's draft explains that bees dance to share where to find food. Offer Bella a suggestion on how she can be more specific. How can she be more defined in that? Okay, about where bees dance to share where to find food. So offer Bella a suggestion for how she can be more specific. We really are hooking Bella up, aren't we? Let's read the hint. The hint says, sometimes you may also need to reread specific details in the source. So, hint, you might need to go back and reread some specific details in the source. Pause. pause, number 5. Bella uses the word pronk in her third example. Explain how she can provide more concrete information for her readers. The hint says, will this term be familiar to her readers? Now remember, it's not. Did you know what pronking meant before you came in here? No, you didn't. Perhaps you should explain it. There you go. I'm giving you guys number 5 for you. So Bella needs to explain what pronking is, and she needs to use different language to help readers picture what it looks like. Sensory language. She can describe. Be more descriptive. More concrete information. Ooh, there we have it, boys and girls. Now, let's see here. We are at the end of page 145. And so this is basically for Monday and Tuesday, introduction and body. I know Tuesday I'm not going to be here, so really what I want you guys to use the time today that you are finishing up here with step 5. I want you guys to use this time today to please get this all written down. It needs to be all written down for tomorrow. Okay? Now, I've passed out this, hopefully we will have passed out for you this draft your conclusion. Now, once you get step 5, the introduction and the body completed, work on this draft your conclusion. Write your name at the top. Take it with you. It's pretty simple. It's trying to basically just try to get you through 1, 2, 3, 4. Once you get through that, that's your conclusion will be written as well too. So we have gone in here and we have written down all the information that needs to be for our introduction. Now this paper will have our conclusion, and then the body is what we need to fill in and basically make look like our mentor text. This is all coming together very well. Okay? But just keep in mind that this needs to be all written out and completed before our next lesson. All right, so with that being said, good luck. I hope you guys are getting this down, and I'm proud of all of you. You are all turning into very good writers. So yeah.